Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring the future, kinda.
The future of cities.
Exactly, yeah. We're diving into AI and urban planning. And
Yeah, this is exciting stuff.
yeah, it really is. We've been going through a ton of podcasts and articles for this one.
All sorts of sources.
And let me tell you, some of the stuff we found is like straight out of science fiction, you know?
It is, but the thing is, it's not science fiction.
Yes.
This is real. This is happening right now.
It's happening now. Like by 2025, just a couple years from now, you might be getting around your city in a completely different way.
Oh yeah, thanks to AI.
AI, designing bus and train routes.
Like, no more traffic jams.
General battling traffic.
It's incredible.
That's the dream.
Yeah, so AI is really stepping in to try to solve a lot of these problems
Right.
that traditional urban planning just hasn't been able to handle.
Yeah.
We're talking like populations exploding, complex infrastructure. We need a whole new level of intelligence to manage it all.
Totally.
And AI might be it.
All right, well, let's start with what might be the biggest villain in any urban jungle: traffic.
Oh, yeah.
I think all of us have been stuck in a traffic jam or two
Oh, yeah.
and wished for like a magic solution.
Absolutely.
Something to just like,
Poof.
yeah, poof, make it disappear.
Exactly. And it's not just the personal frustration, right? I mean, traffic congestion has huge economic impacts.
Oh, for sure.
Environmental impacts, and that's where AI comes in.
So it's like AI is fighting back against traffic.
Yeah, it really is. There are cities already using it,
Oh, wow.
like Los Angeles, Singapore.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're using AI-powered traffic systems. They analyze real-time data from cameras, sensors, even GPS, all to optimize how traffic is floating.
So are these systems basically predicting traffic jams, like before they happen?
In a way, yeah.
That's incredible.
They're analyzing patterns, looking at historical data, and trying to figure out where the problems are going to be before they pop up.
So what kind of an impact is that actually having on a city like, Los Angeles or Singapore?
Well, the biggest one is probably shorter commutes,
Oh, okay.
which means less time wasted in traffic, less fuel consumption, and all of that leads to fewer emissions, too.
So it's good for the environment.
It's good for the environment. It's a win-win.
And it's not just cars, right?
No, no,
We're
no.
talking about public transportation too, right?
Public transportation, absolutely. Imagine AI analyzing data like population density, commuting patterns, even like the weather,
Oh, wow. Okay.
all to design bus and train networks that are way more efficient.
More efficient.
Yeah, so public transportation could actually become
Reliable.
reliable, convenient. People might actually choose to take the bus or the train instead of driving their cars.
Okay, this next part really kind of blew my mind when we were going through all this research.
Okay.
We're talking about simulating entire cities
Yeah,
before a single brick is laid.
it's wild.
It's crazy.
I know, like a digital twin.
A digital twin.
It sounds like something out of like a futuristic film.
Totally. So what's the point of creating these virtual cities?
It's a game changer for urban planners. Now they can use AI to test different design scenarios before anything is built in the real world.
Okay, so you can see how a city works before it's even built.
Exactly. So for example, let's say you want to build a new skyscraper.
Okay.
You can simulate how that skyscraper is going to impact wind patterns, sunlight, even how pedestrians move around the area,
Oh, wow.
all before you even start construction.
So they can basically see how the city will function with this new building and make adjustments if they need to before
Exactly.
any actual construction starts.
Precisely. It's like a virtual sandbox where they can experiment, optimize their designs. It saves time, money, and it helps to prevent costly mistakes later on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's not just limited to skyscrapers, right?
No, no, no.
I imagine AI can be used to determine, like, the best locations for essential services.
Absolutely. Like hospitals, schools, fire stations.
Yeah.
AI can analyze population data, emergency response times, all sorts of factors to make sure these vital services are accessible to everyone who needs them.
Okay, we've talked about traffic, we've talked about infrastructure, but what about sustainability?
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. Cities consume a massive amount of energy, right?
They do.
How is AI being used to make them greener?
Well, for one thing, AI-powered energy grids.
Okay.
These grids can predict energy demand and then adjust the supply in real time.
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of like a smart thermostat.
For the whole city.
For the whole city, exactly, making sure energy is being used efficiently, reducing waste.
So these AI systems are analyzing all this data and adjusting the energy supply based on, like, real-time needs.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. What kind of benefits are we seeing from this?
Oh, significant ones. Lower energy costs for consumers.
Okay.
We're talking less reliance on fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And, of course, a smaller carbon footprint for the whole city.
It's like having a personal energy assistant.
I like that.
Yeah. For the entire city, just making sure everything is running smoothly and sustainably.
Exactly.
What other ways is AI being used to promote sustainability in urban planning?
Oh, all sorts of ways.
Like what?
Well, it can analyze things like sunlight, wind, temperature data, and then use that to design buildings that are just naturally greener,
Okay, so greener buildings,
more energy efficient. Yeah,
more energy efficient, so they don't have to rely on heating and cooling systems as much.
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense, using natural resources
Right.
to reduce our dependence on artificial climate control.
It's a smart approach.
Are there any other cool examples of AI being used to promote sustainable practices in cities?
Well, how about optimizing garbage collection routes?
Okay,
By analyzing data on waste generation and collection patterns,
yeah.
AI can figure out the most efficient routes. Less fuel consumption, better recycling rates.
Wow, it sounds like AI is really touching every aspect of city life.
It really is.
I mean, with all these tools at their disposal, urban planners are practically going to have to become AI experts themselves, right?
Pretty much, yeah. The role of an urban planner is evolving rapidly. They'll need to adapt, learn new skills, new tools if they want to harness the full potential of this tech.
So it's like urban planning is becoming this incredible blend of traditional design principles and
Yeah.
cutting-edge technology.
Totally. It's an exciting evolution. And it's already happening, in cities around the world. And it's already happening, in cities around the world.
So before the break, we were talking about how urban planning is transforming into this fusion of traditional design and cutting-edge AI.
Yeah, like a whole new toolkit for planners.
Exactly.
It's pretty exciting.
I'm ready to hear about some of those real-world examples you mentioned.
Okay, so one of the sources talked about how London is using AI to prepare for floods.
Floods.
Floods, yeah. They're creating a digital twin of the city.
Wait, a digital twin, like a virtual copy of the whole city?
Yeah, yeah.
What does that even look like?
It's like a virtual replica of all the city's infrastructure.
Wow.
So we're talking the rivers, the drainage systems, the buildings, everything.
They map it all out.
They map it all out, and they use AI to analyze all of that data.
Okay, but how does that actually help them prepare for floods?
Well, by running simulations on the digital twin,
Okay.
they can predict how different flood scenarios would impact the city.
Oh, interesting.
Like, where's the water going to go?
Right?
Which areas are most vulnerable? They can even identify potential weaknesses in the infrastructure.
So it's like running virtual experiments.
Can that
Saying what would happen in a real flood.
Exactly. And based on what they learn from these simulations,
Yeah.
they can make much more informed decisions about flood defenses.
Like what kinds of decisions? What are they actually doing based on these simulations?
Well, they might find out they need higher flood walls in certain areas,
Okay. Makes sense.
or they might decide to build new pumping stations.
Oh, wow.
In strategic locations, they can even assess how changes in land use,
Okay.
like new construction projects, might impact flood risk.
So they're not just reacting to floods. They're actually,
They're being proactive.
yeah, being proactive.
You're getting ahead of the problem.
Planning ahead.
It's a whole new level of urban planning.
It really is.
Yeah.
But what about the human element in all this? How is AI impacting like the everyday lives of people living in these smart cities?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
There are both potential benefits and challenges.
Of course, yeah.
On the one hand, AI could make our lives easier, safer, more convenient.
Okay, so less traffic.
Less traffic, cleaner air. Imagine buildings that anticipate your needs.
Okay, now what does that mean?
Think about walking into your office building,
Okay, yeah.
and the lights adjust to your preferred brightness.
Oh, that's cool.
The temperature's just right. Maybe even your favorite coffee is already waiting for you.
Okay, that's a smart city I can get behind.
Right.
But I also know there are some concerns about the potential downsides in all this technology.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What are some of the things we need to be cautious about?
Well, one of the big ones is privacy.
Okay,
These AI systems often rely on huge amounts of data.
right.
And that includes personal information. There's always the risk that this data could be misused.
Or that it could be used to increase surveillance.
Exactly. And then there's the potential for bias in these AI systems,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to things like law enforcement.
Yeah, in fact, some of the sources we went through mentioned concerns about, AI being used in policing and the potential for discrimination.
It's a valid concern.
It's definitely something we need to be talking about.
Absolutely. We need to make sure these technologies are being used responsibly and ethically.
For her. So it's not just about the technology itself, but also how we use it.
Exactly.
We have to be mindful of the potential consequences.
We do. We need to establish guidelines, regulations to prevent misuse and to make sure that people's rights and freedoms are protected.
So it's not just about building smarter cities, it's about building better cities, right?
Better city for everyone. Cities that are not only technologically advanced, but also socially responsible and sustainable.
It sounds like there's a lot to think about as AI becomes increasingly integrated into our urban environments.
There is.
It's not just about the cool factor of having, a super high-tech city.
Right. We need to be intentional, make sure it's aligned with our values and goals for the future.
We have a responsibility to shape the future of our cities, And understanding how AI is transforming urban planning is like the first step.
Absolutely.
It allows us to have these conversations,
Right.
to advocate for responsible development.
And to make sure this technology is actually being used to create the kind of cities we want to live in.
Well, it's clear AI has the potential to revolutionize urban planning, but it's up to us to decide how we harness that power
I agree.
and what kind of cities we want to create.
It's in our hands.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
We've talked about a lot of the big picture ideas,
Yeah.
traffic, infrastructure, sustainability.
The big stuff.
Yeah. But what about the smaller details of city life? Could AI even impact things like parks and public spaces?
Oh, absolutely. One of the sources talked about using AI to design and manage green spaces
Okay.
more effectively. Imagine parks with sensors that monitor soil moisture,
Okay.
and then they adjust the irrigation systems automatically.
So they're not wasting water.
No waste. Plus, you have healthier plants.
Oh, that's a great example.
Yeah, and it's not just about efficiency either. AI could help create public spaces that are just more enjoyable.
More engaging.
More engaging, yeah.
So how would they do that?
Think about lighting systems that change with the time of day.
Okay.
Or adapt to how people are moving through the space.
Oh, that's interesting.
Safer and more inviting?
Okay, yeah.
Or what about interactive art installations that respond to your movements?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, create a really unique experience.
So AI could help make our cities not just more functional, but more beautiful, too.
It really could.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I keep coming back to the question of how can we make sure all these advancements benefit everyone?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, as we kind of embrace the power of AI,
Yeah.
we need to be really careful about potential biases and make sure everyone has equal access to its benefits. We don't want to just create more inequality.
So it's not just about building smarter cities, it's about building better cities for all.
Exactly. It's cities that are technologically advanced, yes, but also socially responsible and sustainable.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much about the future of our cities, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
I hope so. We've really only scratched the surface here. But the main thing to remember is the future isn't set in stone.
Right? It's not predetermined.
Yeah. It's something we're all creating together through our choices and actions.
So as you're going about your day today, think about what we've talked about. What excites you about the potential of AI in urban planning? What concerns do you have? And how can you get involved in shaping the future?